Hi, and welcome to Racy's Reviews. My name is Ashley. This is the first podcast. Something different, something new I wanted to try. A little bit about myself is that I'm a head of media in Luton, and I studied TV production for 3 years, and I just absolutely adore film. I worked in two short films, which are award-winning, which was really fun. And yeah, so let's crack on with today, shall we? Today I wanted to have a look at this absolutely insane film, Bone Tomahawk, um, which, if any of you do know, and I'm glad you've enjoyed it. If any of you don't, I highly recommend watching it. The film is a horror western, which I've never thought I'd ever say. Um, I had loads of people come to me and say, "Oh, Ash, you need to watch Bone Tomahawk. It's amazing. The reviews." Just never got round to it. So the other day, I just thought, right, I'm gonna go for it, and I was not disappointed by any scale. It went from 0 to 100 in a matter of literally moments. Um, and it was so thrilling to see something so fresh and so different and new, especially for an indie film. And then to have cast members like Kurt Russell, Patrick Wilson, David Arquette, Richard Jenkins, Lily Simmons, and even my favourite clown, apart from Pennywise, Sid Haig from House of a Thousand Corpses, which just absolutely blew me away. That this indie film had such a big pull in terms of cast. Now, if you don't know much about the film, it's about a gunslinging sheriff who has his deputy, a doctor, and a convict disappear. And pretty much that's all I can say. You follow him and a man with a broken leg, an old timer, and a new gunslinger on the hunt for these three people, and it is one of the biggest twists. And it was just so gory, and yeah, really, really threw me for a Kurt Russell. To see him in a film like this was just sort of beside myself. The total runtime is around about 2 hours, 10 minutes, but there was not one moment generally where I just sat there and was like, I'm so bored. Every single second of this film, I was glued either by the cinematography or the sound or the editing or the practical effects. It was just something so different. And talking of cinematography, some of the cinematography from like the white cliff tops and looking across the sort of plain deserts or desert-like styles, it was very clever with how it took an independent film rather than going from this desert to that desert to get shots. Very sleight of hand with their shots and what they did, and making scenes look a lot larger than what they are with the sort of certain camera angles and camera work. I thought the score was absolutely insane. I really, really enjoyed the score. I really enjoyed the fact that it had this sort of element of fear within it, and it's a Western as well. So you had the Western style theme and tune come through with this like horror element, which really wrapped round nicely together. But yeah, in terms of the cast, Kurt Russell and Patrick Wilson sort of stole the show for me. They were really, really good characters. Obviously, they're fantastic actors as well. So I scored that an 8 out of 10. Another one that I watched recently, weirdly enough, was The Death of Dick Long. And to be honest, I did not expect it at all. The film is directed by one of the Daniels, and it's a dark satirical comedy about sort of Deep Heart, Alabama. He's had other wacky films, such as like Swiss Army Man and my all-time favourite so far, Everything Everywhere All at Once. So the film follows two people from Alabama, and you think they've killed their friend Dick Long, or Richard Long, as he's known as well. And you follow these two just absolute bumbling idiots across their story, and the whole time you're sitting there and you're trying to work out how have they killed their friend, and there's no remorse, and then they're worrying, and it really plays in your head the whole way through. But there's so many funny elements because it's the Alabama accent, and then the way that they sort of portray these two sort of Alabamians, it's a quite interesting story. What I also liked is that it focuses not just on them but on like the police, the doctors, their family, their friends. You really get to see sort of what their life is like. And I thought it was a real nice twist for sort of like a modern comedy dark film. The twist itself, I'm not going into because I don't want to give any spoilers away. But my jaw just dropped. Literally, I looked at my wife and we were both just like, "What on earth are we watching?" And just burst out laughing because it's so cleverly done and funny at the same time. You have to laugh. I really, really wanted to sort of like work a pun into that one, but I thought if I did, it would sort of give away the whole essence of the film. So again, I gave that one 8 out of 10 as well. So what I'm going to do is basically each week I'm going to do numerous films. I'm going to try to do it as spoiler free as possible. Podcast might be only 5 minutes, it might be an hour long. I don't care if one person listens or hundreds of people listen. I just want to sort of get my point across, give my opinion. I hope you really enjoyed that podcast. It's only a short one. I'm looking at sort of between 5 to 10 minutes. I don't care if one person listens or hundreds of people listen. I just want to give my point across. I absolutely love films, and I just want sort of people to listen, people to talk to. Anyone's sort of message in. I've got social media, so I've got Twitter, which is at Racy Reviews, and same again for Instagram. So yeah, please just keep listening, and next week I shall look at some different films. Thank you very much.
That's a wrap.